Hi, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Canna Business Services. My name is Emily Sisneros, and I'm the founder of Canna Business Services. And today we have a special guest, Jason Sisneros, my husband slash business partner. We own Built to Exit, which is the umbrella organization that oversees a bunch of different businesses that we have together, that we have separately. But everything, including Canna Business Services, falls under the banner of Building to Exit. Whether you want to exit now or later, your business should be designed to give you freedom. So even if you are working in your business, you keep it for the next 10, 20, 50 years, or you decide to sell it in a year or 10 years. Either way, you can build your business so that you don't have to be in the day-to-day. You don't have to be kind of chained to the operations of your business. You can actually achieve financial and time freedom, which is amazing, right? And then when you're ready to sell, whenever that day comes, what we do is we help businesses get prepared for that. We teach this to our clients a lot, and we just want to share this education with you for free. And of course, you can find different bits of information through our newsletter, through our blogs on our website, all kinds of different ways you can learn more about how to optimize your business for exit. But today, with our special guest, we are going to talk to you about culture. And I want to start off by saying, kind of reading something to you that we actually have on one of our posts that goes out this week, where we talk about one of the greatest gifts in being a business owner. And that is that it teaches us to level up in our own reactions, our emotions, our tone, our behaviors, our responses to any given situation. So let me read this to you right now. As a business owner, you do not have the luxury of being able to respond with the first thing that comes off the top of your head or the first thing that comes to mind. You are responsible now for the welfare of both your customers and your staff members. As the head of your organization, your job is to ensure that you are implementing a culture of joy, of transparency, of honesty, and for showing up and going over and above for one another. We cannot overstate this enough, that if the culture in your business is one of gossip, negativity, malignment, blame, laziness, all of those types of things, then you are the one to blame as the head of your organization. You are responsible to train your employees and set the tone for your organization. You are also responsible to implement corrective actions for poor attitudes and behaviors that are misaligned from your company's culture. Even if you are a one-person company, the foundation there starts with you, and you are responsible for how you show up each and every day. And if you don't do it when you're the only person in your business, then how do you expect to implement it when you hire more people down the road? So that is the topic we're going to talk about today. And I wanted to start off with that because I think that encapsulates so well what we need to do in all of our businesses and how fundamentally important it is to keep that at the top of mind and to implement corrective actions. So Jason, with all of that said, I want to talk to you about it. Let's talk about company culture, the importance of it, how you train for it, how you show up on the day-to-day, and what business owners listening to this podcast can implement into their businesses.
Yeah, it's a great subject. Great opening, by the way. And culture, you have to start out understanding that most businesses, 95% of them are not going to see their 10th birthday. 50% of them aren't going to see their second birthday. It's a really high failure rate. And most of the businesses, because they're open right now, think that they're in business and that they're going to be in business for long term. And most of them, and this is where you have to start, like from a business owner perspective, you and I both know this, is that we cannot be egoistically or enthusiastically doing the wrong things. And ego, coming from ego, it's like, I'm very certain about doing the wrong things. Like that's one of the components is I'm running really, really hard in the wrong direction. You got to make sure you're not doing that. How do you do that? You bang those ideas off of somebody who's been doing it longer than you, a consultant. You can always get a hold of us at B2X, right? But egoistically, enthusiastically doing the wrong thing. Culture is one of those very specific areas that knocks down a lot of dominoes in a positive or a negative way. Culture is something where uh, that gets purposely built in companies that succeed long term, and it gets um, not purposely, unconsciously adopted in companies that fail. Let me explain what I mean by that. When you sit down and you go, okay, here's what the core components of our business are. How are we going to treat our employees? How am I falling in love with and serving my customer base? How are we interacting with the public? How are we interacting with our vendors? Anybody that comes in contact with our particular brand, what is the feeling in the space that they're going to take up about what we do and how we do it? CBS is an beautiful example of what I mean by that. You purposely sat down and developed what your culture was going to be. And now wherever you go in the world, wherever I've been, I've traveled with you, you know, we show up, you're doing a speaking engagement, we're going to a grand opening of one of your space, one of your client spaces or one of the ones that we're building together. And the the result and the conversations are always the same. They are Emily's team, CBS, did such a great job of all of the people that were helping us navigate opening in one of the most difficult industries humanly possible on the planet right now. That CBS was a light, a shining light of doing whatever it took, whenever it took, but also having the expertise and the knowledge of being able to get them across the line. It's very expensive. It's very uncertain for anybody to be able to succeed in the cannabis space. And you are one of those areas with CBS that people can count on. They literally can plant their flag on having the best advice at the right time with a company and a team that's never, they're going to do whatever it takes to help you get across that finish line. So that is a culture that I know. I saw it from the day you opened the doors of that business, that you had to decide, and you did decide before you had your first employee to now having, 20, 30 employees. It started before you had anybody. And then you consistently, as you stacked your team together, onboarded them and let them know up front, here's how we do business. Here's how you are expected to be treated by us and how you're supposed to treat the people that are on your team. Here's how we treat and behave for our for our customer base. Anytime CBS is out there in the world, here's how it's going to interact. That's not done on accident. That is done on purpose. And so I would say that that's one of those dominoes. When you get that right, there's 100 things that you don't have to deal with because everybody knows when they're onboarded what the culture is of this business. You don't have to re-onboard. You don't have to constantly retrain people and tell them, hey, you suck. You're not doing a good job. You don't have to constantly hire and rehire. Your turnover rate is it's very, very low, like almost zero, because of the culture that you've built. That's a big deal. Your customer rate, your referrals are super high. All of the things that matter in life, in business, are balanced out and really fueled and given certainty by building your culture on purpose. Second thing, and then I'll shut up, is that when you get that culture built properly, and then you can articulate what it is to win with the business, those two things in combination are two of the biggest game changers for companies. If your team knows that you got their back and that you know they have your back, and here's the win this we go after, here's what it means for us to win, unstoppable, as you have proven with your company.
I love that. And I love, how you started by saying or when you said that you start by implementing these tools in the beginning when you are one person. And when I started Canna Business Services, before it got wrapped into the company we created, Built to Exit, as a division of Built to Exit, this episode is for cannabis businesses, but we also have Professional Females Company, which is geared towards women-owned businesses, Built to Exit, which is the umbrella that goes towards all kinds of other industries. So, we have these extra companies because these are very specialized fields, but no matter what industry you're in, it's all the same fundamentals. And that's the beauty of it. That's what made you so successful in selling your creating, building up almost 30 businesses, deciding to sell 26 of them in a portfolio that was your defined terms of an exit. And I think people tend to overlook culture and training because it feels like such a small aspect, or something like, hey, I'm a nice person, so I think my team will be great and I hire competent people. And you don't really necessarily, speaking of culture, we have an animal friendly culture in our businesses because these cats do not let us do a podcast without coming up here. And if I put him outside of the office, he'll scratch at the door and meow until I let him in. So it's a no-win situation. He loves to hear when you're on these calls, he hears your voice. So he always comes up and he listens. But
That's Leonidas,
yeah, that's
my
right.
boy.
um, yeah, so I think culture is just so overlooked. And the thing is, it's what allowed you, it's one of the main pieces that allowed you to actually build your businesses for an exit, is because you created a full staff that not only could run the businesses without you. You had 6,800 employees. You had almost 7,000 employees. You were able to take about maybe 10 hours a week across all of the companies combined. And because you built it so it was self-sustaining. And one of those things that made it self-sustaining was that you had a management team that was taught about company culture, trained it, reinforced it, got rid of the bad players, the silver A's, as you teach in your built to exit system course, which we're not going to get into today. But you taught all of that. You implemented into all of those businesses. So when a firm came along and said, hey, we want to buy your business, guess what happened? You were able to dictate the terms of your control of your sale, the amount of money you sold for tens and tens and tens of millions of dollars. You literally were able to retire before, in your 40s, and before you ever even thought about retiring. You're not retired anymore because you can't do it. You literally couldn't last a week. That's another topic for another day. So you understood and you learned how important company culture is. Most people put it on the back burner until they get a rogue employee that gets fired for doing a rogue action, and that employee comes back and tries to sue the business or whatever happens there and creates chaos. But that is a bad employees and toxic behaviors, including toxic behaviors from the ownership, infects the business like a cancer. And you have to get that cancer out. So this was a really insightful episode. There's so much more we could dive into, and maybe this will be the first of many regarding culture and training. But I'm grateful that you were able to spend some time with us today. I'm sure we'll have you back. We have so many topics about building to exit, and we want all of our clients to succeed and sell for top dollar, or they don't want to sell, implement these procedures so they don't ever have to worry about what's going on in the health and welfare of their business. They can go on vacation for 3 months, a year if they want to, and know that their business is going to be just fine. And that's company culture and training is one of those foundational pieces that ensure this. So any parting words, Jason, before we close out?
I would say, culture, if you were to define it, it's one of those things that, consultants like to make really ethereal and really like complicated so that they sound super, super smart, and, and you just open your wallet and give them your money. Culture is really loving your people and treating them like you would want to be treated. It's the golden rule if you had to boil it down to it. The only employees that I've had, and I've had a lot, and still, I mean, I've got people that have worked for me for 20 years still with me. And there's three things. The people that don't like me as employees don't like me if they steal, if they're lazy, or if they're mean-spirited. And those three types of people shouldn't be working for you. Period. End of sentence. There's no amount of again, we're not running babysitting campaigns. We're looking, the businesses that we create opportunities for people to come in and learn from amazing people and systems, and we want them to go, if they do ever leave us, want them to go on to successful businesses of their own. And so it, the idea of culture is just deeply love people. Me. It's one of the things that we love about each other is that we really, really love our people. We really, really love people in general, but we really, really love our team. And they know that. There's nothing that we wouldn't do for them. Flip side of that is you can't do that with somebody who's lazy, stealing from you, or mean-spirited. So get rid of them and feel no guilt about doing so. That's really the simplified pare down of this episode, is just say, love people. And along the way, you learn to love yourself even more, because the more you love yourself, the more you can love other people.
I love that. That's awesome. With that, we close. Thank you
We
for
close.
joining us today, Jason. We appreciate you showing up as always. I'll see you for breakfast. But yeah, I'm really, really grateful, and just a great reminder of the teams that we built, that we love, the people we work with, we love. And, to your point, hire slow, make sure these people fit your culture, fire fast. Get rid of the ones who are mean spirited, the ones who are stealing from you, the ones who, what's the third one? Or the
Lazy.
second? Lazy. That was the second one on your list. Lazy brain over here. Forgot it. But yeah, I appreciate that. So thank you so much for joining. We hope you got value from this. Feel free to subscribe, like this video if you've enjoyed it or gotten value from it. If you subscribe, then you get notifications on when we launch future episodes, of course, and other videos like that. So thank you so much for joining today. We hope you enjoyed it.
Love you, baby.
Love you.